So welcome to another episode of the BreakDown podcast with me, your soul brother Tony DADA, and my young protege Natty, who is the brains behind this BreakDown podcast. And what's the essence of this? Well, really, it's an opportunity for us to have a conversation, to break down. So we're all about helping you grow personal success. I wrote a book about it. And there are different aspects because we want to bring together how you can bring your heart and your game for making money together as one. And there are universal principles that we can apply to make that come together. Ain't that right, Natty?
Yep. And just before we get into everything, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the video.
Yeah.
It does help a lot.
Yeah. If you like what we're doing and what we're dropping down, then yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So what are we talking about today?
So today, the title of this breakdown podcast is How to Become a Money Magnet.
Okay, so yes, I know that you're going to like this one. How to become a money magnet. So I thought, looking at what's going on across the world and in the UK especially, where we're hearing about the economic crisis and there's no money, or that's at least what the media is putting out there. I wanted to come against that narrative really, in terms of, just imagine for a minute if you could become a money magnet. You wouldn't care about the state of the economy from a financial point of view, would you?
No.
Right. And so really this is what we want to talk about today. How you can become a money magnet. But it's not going to be based on things, because I know I can see people thinking, oh yeah, I just walk down the street and money just comes to me. But I mean, it doesn't actually happen like physically, but in an essence, it does. And so it's really about understanding what are the qualities that you can embed in yourself to make you attractive. Because actually, people don't realize that money is actually looking for you just as much as you're looking for money. Did you know that?
I mean, I didn't know that, but yeah, I did know that one.
Yeah. And so just imagine that for a moment. Because if we could conceive that and understand that, then we'd be moving differently. Because really, see, money is searching for opportunities to multiply itself, to be more.
Okay.
So if you're bringing a situation that can enable me, the custodian of some money, to invest in you, and I get my money back plus some, and I break you off a piece, and we're good, why wouldn't I want that?
That's just a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, so then,
Yeah.
but if it's a no-brainer, then why aren't you thinking about how to become a money magnet? How to help me make money?
I already did that.
Yeah. Yeah, but how many years did it take? Like, you went there, so we had to go.
Yeah.
So, and since you went there, then that gives me the opportunity to kind of break it down, because the first time we went there,
Yeah.
you didn't give me a return on my investment.
Yeah, it wasn't so great.
It was more than not so great. It was disastrous.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
but we're just keeping it real with you, and I'm saying that because it actually demonstrates my point. You see, you have to be, as an individual, you have to be of a certain kind of constitution, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You have to know what you're about to be able to be the custodian of money.
Yeah.
And that's what we work on here when we talk about growing personal success. You see, it's about having a vision. It's about having clarity. It's about having a sense of who you are. And what I love about what you did first time round, you made a total mess up of the investment opportunity. However, they say it's not what happens to a man that shows you the man, it's how he responds to what happened to him.
Yeah.
And how you decided to respond was like, it showed you who you were. You didn't like what you saw, and you made a decision that you was going to become a better man. It took some time, but here we are again now. Yeah.
I had to pick up all the gems along the way.
Right. And this is what we want to drop for you. You know, you don't have the opportunity to be here with, I mean, you've been around now for some 9 years. And so one of the things I was saying in my blog was the fact that for me, how I stumbled on discovering how to become a money magnet was actually based on me not having any money in the first instance. How about that? You see, because money is just a medium of exchange. So the truth of the matter is, we can actually, if we are both operating and vibing on a certain level, we can actually transcend that whole exchange of money. Yeah, so I can have something in mind that is of value to me, and you can have something that's valuable to you, and we don't have to do the physical exchange, but we can have a conversation, acknowledge what's valuable, and if I give you that thing that is valuable to you, and it might be a physical thing, but it might be an experience. Are you with me?
Does that relate to when you used to talk to me about moving at the speed of trust? Or is that different?
That's slightly different. So, I mean, for example, a couple of years ago, I went to see Beyonce at a concert, right? Mm-hmm. And we got some VIP tickets. Yeah. Now, those VIP tickets, they cost some money. But if I was able to negotiate with someone whereby they didn't have to give me any money, but I gave them something of value, and they reciprocated by giving me the tickets, we've just done business on a higher level.
Fair enough, yeah.
Do you see my point?
I get you.
So, but many people don't actually recognize that. They're looking for that paper money as opposed to recognizing there's a higher, much, much, much higher level that you can operate from. So in that situation I just described, everyone was happy, but more so than just money exchange, it's about relationships, because I'm like, okay, I know that this guy can hook me up with certain things, and he knows that I can hook him up. So now we can do business on another level.
On the power of leverage.
On the power of leverage and on the power of spirit. Because it was just like, okay, he expressed an intention and I said, I can meet that need. Yeah. So bringing it into business on an everyday basis. See, we're all about how you do business that reflects who and what you are. You see, I talk about this new season that I'm referring to as the new age of entrepreneurship. And it's where we do business on a different level. It's not just about exchange. It's not just about making money, but it's about your business, the things that you invest in, kind of reflect who you are and your persona and what you stand for. Yeah. So if you got £1 million in the bank, you're not gonna take half of that and invest in a drug racket. I certainly don't hope you would do that.
No, that would bring along a RICO case.
Right. Okay.
You don't beat RICO.
And we don't want that. Absolutely. So you want to put your money into things that you appreciate, and that will appreciate. Like, if you're a lover of art, you buy some art. If you're a lover of architecture, you might buy some buildings. Do you see my point? Yeah. So my whole point is that your money should reflect who you are. And now I'm saying that the business that you engage in can also and should also reflect who you are. Because believe it or not, I mean, that's how brands are built. So think about a brand. Yeah. You can build a brand so that it can command far more than the actual cost of whatever that brand is associated with. But this is exactly what I'm talking about.
So you mentioned some 10 tips in this blog on how to become a money magnet, and the first tip is to focus and get super clear on your vision. Do you like to elaborate some more about that, or is it just finding that skill that you developed?
No, it's, as you know, I'm always talking about the power of a vision.
Yeah.
People, I think, are only beginning to recognize how powerful it is. You have to be able to see in your mind's eye what it is that you want to achieve. And the reason for that is because it's a vision that you hold. They say that we have 60,000 thoughts or thereabouts a day. Imagine if your focus, every quiet moment is focused on that thing that you want to actually manifest, that you want to actualize. That's really why it's all about holding that vision.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So I think when you hold the vision and all your thoughts, your actions, your decision making, your energy is working towards that vision. You know, I was watching something on the internet recently where it was saying that the the energy of the heart and the magnetism of the heart is like 500 times more powerful than that which is emitted by the mind. Yeah. So I'll show it to you afterwards.
Okay.
But there is really a demonstration of what I'm talking about. You see, we're coming to learn. You see, when you have a vision, your vision is not just an image. It's the place, the center with which you pour your emotion, your energy. You know, like, you know, if you're a young kid and you want to grow up to be this basketball player, that's the vision that you've got. So when you're out every morning and you're throwing that ball, you're not just doing it. It's with desire. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. The reason why that makes sense is because I'm trying to start a potential enterprise with my guys, and they're very left brain thinkers, and oftentimes they wouldn't bring their emotions into the meeting. So when we're having a meeting, I said, "Yo, bro, can you bring your emotion into the meeting so we can know where everyone ideally sees where you want this to go?" Because we can just do left brain stuff and just not be happy.
Yeah, and this is the message that we're really trying to bring. You should try it, because as a creative, I know you think about every successful music artist. You know, when they're writing, and especially if they're a writer, when they're writing the song, and I can speak from experience as a songwriter, you literally go somewhere to create your song, and in that space you're visioning the song.
Yeah.
You're visioning yourself performing it, you're visioning the words, you're feeling the vibe, you're actually getting excited over there in that space. Yeah. So you can't do it without the vibe. And now you manifest it, you bring the whole song together, and then you just share it with other people.
Yeah. So does that lead on to point two, what you said, to rehearse your vision?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Perfect example, because so now you're rehearsing it, and you know, I've read articles about people who, when they're in that process of putting their lyrics together, they are spending hours, you know, rehearsing it in their mind to get it right, to get the flow right, to get the everything has to be perfect. And they're rehearsing it. You know, you've heard of the 10,000 hour rule, right? So this is it. We are rehearsing so often. So just using music as an example, if you are a rapper or you're a singer, you rehearse so many hours, then you exceed your 10,000 hours, then you get to a point where now it's just natural. It's actually embedded in your vibe. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the third point was to identify, other than yourself, who that vision is going to help or impact.
Yeah, now that's like putting dynamite underneath your vision, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Excuse me, because most people are or should I say, many people, through no fault of their own, have been operating in that left brain, the old world, the old paradigms. When I talk about a new age, this is the difference I'm talking about. And in that old paradigm, in that old world, it was really all about the winner takes all, me, myself, and I. Like, it's just all about me.
Yeah.
Whereas what I found over the last 30 years that I've been investing in people is that when you have a vision, and when the vision honors you, like when you think about the vision, you're centered in the vision and you see what you're doing, it makes you smile. Yeah. But then when you can also see how that vision, when other people get to see and experience it, is going to benefit other people, that's when magic happens. It's almost as if the universe just gets involved and says, okay, yeah, let's partner up and do this.
Okay. And then that leads on to point 4, where it says ensure that your vision is too big for you, so you're going to need people.
Absolutely.
Bring it to fruition.
And I think in my blog I talked about the story where when I first started out, I had been running these events. So I was really passionate about younger people having the opportunity to do music and to express their voice, especially people that were off the streets, like where I was at the time. Yeah. And it was going well based on the fact that I started with no money. Yeah. So that was the money magnet. So I had to think about it. I had to hold a vision, and I had to have the desire and be so passionate about it that I had to come up with creative ways to get money out of people. Do you understand? Without sticking them up. Like, just give it to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, alright. And point 5 is like cultivating a belief system. So along that journey, did you have any factors that may have tried to compromise your core belief system?
Yeah, but I want to just take it back to that point that I was making, really, because so here I am, I'm making it work, and my vision is much bigger than what's actually happening. So I'm always playing catch up. So I never have enough money. Yeah, but that space, that tension between your vision and your reality is what you need, because that literally, you get a situation where your vision pulls you.
Right. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If everything's just set, then you just get lazy. But if your vision is there and you're just always trying to reach your vision, it keeps you lean, it keeps you mean, it keeps you hungry, as my good friend Les Brown says, and it keeps you just desirous. And so you're also giving life the opportunity and the space to get involved. And so in my scenario, we was doing that, and it was like that for a number of years, and then we got our break, where at one point, and you often hear people in their stories talk about this, they get a break.
Yeah.
And in our case, it was a scenario where we put in an application for some funding to the Arts Council. Never done anything like that before. And then, within a few months, we got a letter saying, you got a check of £75,000. I'm like, I didn't do any work. Like, how's this work? But my point is, and how the story goes later on when I managed to speak with someone in the Arts Council many years later, when I was like, how come you gave us the money? And said, well, we saw that you was doing this. You've been doing this every year. You were going to do it anyway. For us, it was like we were just leveraging our money, because the cost of what you was doing was probably like 200 grand.
Yeah.
300,000. We only had to put in 75. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we get the outcome, we get the report, we get, so this is how it works.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So coming back to that point you was making about, what was that? Did I find myself compromised sometimes?
Yeah. Were there situations where it made you feel like you may have to compromise your belief system? Because you spoke about the tension between the vision and the reality. So is there anything that, because you always said to have a strong core belief system, and everyone that has a strong belief system is going to be tested. It just happens with everyone.
Yeah.
So were there any tests or lessons from those tests you want to share?
Well, were there tests? Yeah, there was a bunch of them. Yeah. And the thing about a test is, in a mad kind of way, you hope that you're going to get it right, but you also know that there's a possibility that you could get it wrong.
Yeah.
So there's a tension. So, so there was many instances like that, but that's where your belief system has got to come in.
Yeah.
Because you have to feel the fear and do it anyway. Do you understand? Like, so that your desire to want to manifest and establish this thing is so great that you're ready to step over and step on the head of any fears that might come your way. And that's where your heart comes into play. And this is what we want to teach people in business, because, see, everyone is finding now that having an alternative source of income other than your day job or your unemployment check is kind of the way to go. But if you're just trying to get that money, then when you hit the first hurdle, you're just going to give up.
Right.
Do you see my point?
Right.
But if you have clarity of vision, you know why you want this business to be established, and like your heart is in it. Like you also see that certain people are going to benefit as a result. Now you got skin in the game.
Right. So basically, in order to keep your belief system intact, remember your why, and keep your heart at the center of it.
Absolutely, and that's why you have to be working on yourself. You know, my philosophy, and you've probably heard this, is they say, work harder on you than you do on your job or your business, because in this new age of entrepreneurship, your business is merely a reflection of who you are. Period. And so someone can see how your business is operating, don't even see you, and be like, I'm interested in that business. Because your essence, if you have a spirit of excellence, is there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, it's like the story when I was approached by, check this, I get approached by a college. I have no background. I've never done any teacher training. You know, don't get upset, those of you who've gone to uni and, you know, gone in for teacher training. I had no background, no qualification, no nothing. I'm just doing what I'm passionate about. And at the time it was through a not-for-profit organization. But I get approached by a college, and this is what I'm talking about when I say be a money magnet. And they gave me money. Like, you know, they came to me and just kind of said, listen, if you was to apply for this role, you probably get it because we need you. I'm like, how's that work? I'm like, okay, because I wanted to get into the world of education, so I wanted to understand certain things because I had a vision about something, but I needed to get some data, yeah, and so I needed to go on the inside. I made the application, and I got the job, but that wasn't even the crazy part. And see, this is why I say that money is no respecter of people. Because I remember when I went in on my first day, like, not only did I have like a 3-year contract with them, but like I was the head of a whole department. There must have been about 10, 15 teachers, and they're all looking at me first day, and I'm having a chat with them, and they're hearing that I've got no background in teaching. They're looking and like, they ain't happy with this.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But more importantly is because the college had an agenda. They wanted that $500,000. And so they're like, okay, we're going to invest in you. We're only going to give you 6 months though. So you need to bring this money back. And I did it in 3.
Is that where the spirit of expectancies come from, point 6?
Well, yeah, for me, and it's about knowing who you are and what you possess.
Right, yeah.
So I know I'm a creative. I know that in business, my superpower is, you were talking about your boys all just looking for the money, right?
Yeah.
Just doing the left brain stuff. But my whole thing is, right, I'm a creative. So I will be able to create opportunities in my mind that you can't even conceive of. So I remember,
I've seen.
Yeah. So
with my own 2 eyes.
So here's how the story went. So I'm there for about a couple of months now, and I see. So my department was the music department, right? Music technology.
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of Apple computers, and I'm like, have you guys ever thought about talking to Apple for sponsorship? Because one of the teachers, his sister worked for Apple. I'm like, so that's where I just joined the dots. Like, no one had thought about it. They were like, oh no, you can't do that. Like, that would never happen. I'm like, okay, in your world it will never happen, but I ain't from your world, so this is why I'm here. So I had conversations with them, and I got the interest. I got their idea. Like Apple is trying to expand in education.
Yeah.
Cut a long story short, I made everyone happy. Apple was trying to get into this festival. It was the biggest urban music festival at the time. We're talking about 2005, 2006. You know, you had Jay-Z, Beyonce. They were trying to get into it, right? But they couldn't because it was sponsored by Nokia, right?
Right.
Now, but I've been involved in it through my not-for-profit the year before
Right.
with the Prince's Trust. So I'm like, well, listen, I could do you all a favor if you take care of my not-for-profit organization, so get some money, so I'll get you in tutus. That's what I did. I created a whole situation where Apple was able to bring like 10, 15 of their computers. They had a whole suite for 2 days, but there was no conflict because it wasn't Apple's thing. It was the college's thing. You understand what I'm saying? So the college now, I made the college look like big boys to the funders. They're like, you want $500,000? If that's how you're moving, here's the $500,000. So they're happy. Apple was happy because they now got to get involved and sell loads of computers. And Nokia was happy because we just made the whole thing look so dope. And of course, we were happy too. So it's that kind of creative thinking that I'm talking about that we need to apply in business. And of course, I was hella happy because I'm like, damn, I pulled it off again.
Yeah, because that was point 7, right? You took action every day to realize the vision and goal you had in mind.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so even though the head of the department, so there was a whole music technology department, and then I had my department within the music technology department.
Yeah.
So I could have just listened to her and said, okay, yeah, it's not possible. But I'm like, you don't know what I know. You don't know how to move like how I do. So I just went about taking action.
Right.
So by the time I came back and said, it wasn't a case of this is what I think. It was a case of this is what I've done. Why are you going to say no to that?
Right.
Do you get it?
Right. There's point 8. I understand point 8, and point 8 is talk to everyone about your vision. Now, some people might not want to do that because they feel like their idea is going to get taken or stolen from them.
Yeah, but
So
then
how do you combat that kind of mindset?
Yeah, so that's a great question.
Yeah.
So think about the intention. And so we're going deep. See, my whole thing is about how you can fuse two theories together. So as you know, I've had a spiritual mentor for 40 years, and then I've had a very successful business mentor. And my thing is, I'm saying that you can combine those two things and come up with a heart-centered business that makes money, that's purposeful.
Yeah.
So in answer to your question, I wasn't thinking about me in that scenario with Apple. I was thinking this would be dope for everyone. Do you see my point?
Someone else in your vision to make it
Yeah,
bigger.
this would be dope for everyone. Like, you know, where the uni was, like where the college was concerned, they were looking at me like, have we made the right choice here? Because I'm just moving differently. But when I caught the vision, I'm now talking to all of the teachers. Yeah. So now, where they were kind of very standoffish before, they're like, I'm talking to them about something that sounds crazy to them.
Right.
Like, but I'm getting information by asking these questions. Because how do you think I found out that one of the teachers, his sister, works at Apple? That could never happen if we didn't have conversations. Do you see my point?
Yes.
And so then I'm sharing my idea with them. And that's how the guy said, oh, well, my sister, she works at Apple. I'm like, give me that number. Let me give her a call. So this is how you get the buy-in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't speak to the head who didn't want to buy in, and she had her own reasons. I ain't involved in that. Let me just roll with the guys that believe in this, because the more we have people believing in an idea and taking action, talking about it, making steps towards making it happen. So I called her. She didn't work for the college, but she came and met with me because I'm in a position of influence now. Do you see my point?
Yeah.
And we had a conversation. I gave her my game plan. She was like, yeah, we'd love to get involved in that, but we can't because Nokia shut the door on us. I'm like, yeah, but if I could make it happen, how about that? She was like, okay, well, but I got a clean slate now. No one ain't telling me, like, because everyone's just sitting saying, we ain't got no access, so let's just see what happens. By the time we pulled it off, everyone was just like, damn. And of course the word gets around. So now, that college, I was one of 400 special colleges that were supposed to be beacon colleges to demonstrate good practice and engage with employers. Now, the head of Apple UK wants to have a private meeting with me. How about that? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So, in all of that, I wasn't thinking about me. I was thinking about us, how we could benefit. But I got the best hookup because there I am sitting down in a private meeting, one-on-one with the then head of Apple UK, who's now like head of Apple Europe, and we're chopping it up. And that's when I get this new vision through what he was saying about the state of the educational system, and that was back in 2006. And check this, just to show you how, everything is related. Mm-hmm. That meeting birthed the seed of the Dada Success Academy.
Oh, because he asked you the question about who he would accept for a job, the educated person, the one who's passionate.
Yeah, and okay. So the story is like, if there's two people that came to me and they both wanted a job, one came out with a degree just the other day, and the other has no qualifications, but he's passionate about computers, which one would you think I would employ? And I'm like, well, I got a degree in architecture, you'd probably go for that guy, right? And he said, no. I'd go for the guy that's passionate. And then we broke it down, and he started telling me about, many big employers were finding it difficult to find the talent that they were looking for. Now I'm like, you're kidding me. So you're saying to me, all of these guys are just going to uni thinking that that's the meal ticket, and you ain't even looking at that. And he's like, yeah, because technology would have moved on so quickly that they really aren't bringing that much to the game. So for me, I was like, this is what we need to be teaching, helping people to identify what you're passionate about. So coming back to what I'm saying, it's your heart. That's what he's basically saying. Show me that you got love, you got heart for this business, this computing world that we run, and you're in. If you want to be just left brain and show us your certificate that you got the qualifications, that don't work here. And look, Apple is not a brand to be sniffed at, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, if it can work for Apple, it can work for me. And the thing that really blew me away, so they picked me up, private car, just took me down to his office, and when I got there, he's thanking me for coming to see him. And as the story goes, he was like, yeah, because most of those guys in the educational world, they're in their world, they don't understand, they don't think differently, so they don't come out of their bubble. But you did. So
you weren't really in that bubble to begin with.
That's my point. So that's my point. It's like vision, and how are you thinking? See, to become a money magnet, you got to think money. But you got to transcend thinking money. You got to think about value. What value can you bring? Yeah. So based off of that, I'll just tell, you might want to edit this, but so based on that now, we used to have conferences like every quarter, the 400 of these beacon colleges. And check it, this was part of a £250 million program.
Yep.
So we get together, and like the head guy who writes the check for this whole program, it's over 3 years. When we have our lunches, at these conferences, everybody's like, oh, that's the main man. No one goes and sits at his table because he's the big boss. But I had another idea, and I wanted to run it by him because my boss at the college, she was trying to shut it down. So I'm like, he's sitting at the table. I'm like, yo, can I go sit down with you? He's like, yeah, sit down, because obviously he knows that nobody wants to chat to him. Yeah. So is this brother come and sit down? We chat, and I'm like, listen, yo, I got this idea. This is what I want to do. What you think about it? He's like, I broke it down. He's like, yeah, I like that idea. I'm like, great, that's cool. That's all I needed. So I went back to my boss now and said, listen, I just talked to the main man.
Oh my days.
And you know that project that you said couldn't go nowhere? He likes it.
Yeah.
So guess what I'm going to do? In my own time, I'm going to develop that project. And I did. That project, I mean, that's what probably caused us to part ways, because she was mad. She was hella mad. Because I got Channel 4 involved. I got the mayor's office. We actually launched the project at the mayor of London. Can you imagine? The head of the college was like, what the hell are you doing? Because I'm making everybody look. But I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about we. JLS came out of that project. Do you see my point? It was national. So.
Was that Project Talent?
That was Project Talent.
Project Talent, okay.
Yeah. So my whole buy-in was, I wanted to link, imagine, music, entertainment, fashion. All of these colleges, they had a special college for fashion. They had a special college for film. They had a special college for music. I'm like, yo, let all your students come into this competition. It'd be bigger than X Factor. And it's academic. And we're meeting, this time I'm now meeting with the head of L'Oreal, the head of Apple, and I'm saying, look, we can bring you talented, gifted individuals. Because you're saying that you can't find the talent. I can bring the talent to your door. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm thinking we. But where it went south is because I didn't realize that in that world, everybody's territorial.
Right.
So the head of the college don't want me going talking to the mayor of London. Like, she won't be doing that. So she gets upset. Like, this guy's got to go because he's trying to get my spot. So we get into a little something. And I'm like, listen, you know what? I done what I came to do. You got your money. I got paid. Give me a little bit extra. I'm off. I went back to my not-for-profit organization and we developed Project Talent there.
That's quite interesting because one of the points is collaboration, and what you were doing was just simply allowing everyone the opportunity to collaborate
on a major level.
On a major level.
Major. Like that. This was national. So think about it. From the college's point of view, each of those colleges that were beacon colleges would be able to show a spirit of excellence to everyone who's into music, to everyone who's into fashion. Because there was a bunch of other colleges that do those things. Yeah. So we would upskill for the whole of the UK. People like, no, you got to do this, and you got to do this properly, because it's a competition and you can win. It's competitive. It's good for our workforce. It's good for our employers, because now the employers know that they're getting people who are coming with their heart, that they want to do film, they want to do fashion, they want to do music. And it's good for the government.
Crazy. I think that's what we've got time for today.
Yeah. It was good though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good.
Took me down memory lane. But so it really just demonstrates how your vision must be big and powerful. Sometimes you don't get to fulfill the whole vision. Yeah. But sometimes you have to be prepared to take a risk. So I left the comfort of that role with the college and went to my not-for-profit organization where I had to raise $100,000 to fund it myself. But the vision was strong. And so we did. And remember, this is a time before we had Instagram and all of that social media. It wasn't there. But yet we still had over 5,000 people apply to participate in that project. So it's a good example, I think. Yeah. So think win-win. Think about the benefit and become a money magnet, because it literally can open doors. And if you can deliver, then you just get bigger and bigger opportunities. So I hope you've enjoyed it today. I certainly have done it. It was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So till next time, it's me, Tony Dada, your soul brother, and young Natty, and we'll see you next time. Love.